Hello, I am Donny, and I am the cute one.
And I am Chelsea, and I am the cute one.
TGIF, cuties.
TGIF.
Last Friday before Christmas. Is that a song?
Last Friday. I think this just really sums it all up, cuties. So if you're tuning in today hoping that this is the week we get our shit together, sorry.
Maybe in the new year.
New year.
Because you ain't getting it before that.
New us.
I'm just going to be honest, Chelsea. Everything in my life is dramatic. Yesterday in therapy, I cried so hard my nose bled. I sent you a picture.
You did.
But, cuties, good news for you. Some details of that therapy session, including tears, are on the extended Patreon of the upcoming Four Christmases episode. So if you want to dive into my tears, go for it.
And to clarify, Donny has not reached the point of monetizing his therapy sessions, but there was some breaking... Oh, God, not again.
What happened?
My lighting. Cuties, if I look like Voldemort at any point and I don't have a nose, if I'm Gretchen Rossi adjacent and I look like I've been hit with that Facetune feature, I'm sorry, but you get what you get and you don't get upset. But circling back, Donny did not do therapy on Zoom for the Patreon cuties, but there was some breaking news that happened as we were recording. So that's the little teaser there.
And some sense memory as well. There were lots of breakdowns yesterday,
We really went through it yesterday.
We did.
Really this whole week. Really this whole month.
I know. But I want to keep today light. So I'll do my best to not have a breakdown. So let's keep it light. The child that told me he wanted me dead in the streets of Gettysburg, I do have to send out a retraction because he came to New York with his parents. And was I held at gunpoint to make this retraction live on Instagram video? Basically. But it still comes from the heart. He had a wonderful time with me. I had a wonderful time with him. And I don't think he's homophobic anymore.
Great. Well, see, this is just proof. People can change. Just like Scrooge, he was visited by those three spirits, and now he might not call you the F slur.
We also saw Our Town on Broadway, which is I think it's a boring play. I don't know if you've been forced to watch the PBS video from like 1973. I had to watch it in my theater arts class in college, and it's very boring. It's just about like living in a small town. It's a 3-hour play originally. But Chelsea, wait. It gets better. It's originally from the 1970s, like a 3-hour play. There's no set, and it's just people saying, like, over here's Old Man River's house. And then it's like Old Man River miming cooking breakfast.
Is this the play where everybody wears neon and sits on blocks?
No, I don't know. Is that Seussical?
No, I don't know what it is.
Okay. This is like pilgrim outfits.
Oh.
Like takes place in 1901 or some junk like that.
The hundreds, if you will.
Yes, the hundreds. I'm familiar. In this production, Katie Holmes plays one of the mothers. Zoe Deutsch from, you know her, you've seen her in things. She plays Katie Holmes' daughter. And then there's a couple, Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory is the narrator. So already the cast is stacked in my favor. Then what they do, the one part, spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen it, it was from the 70s or something, so joke's on you. Spoiler alert, at the end of the show, Zoe Deutsch, Katie Holmes' daughter, dies. And that whole last half hour of the show is everybody in heaven living in the afterlife. And the girl that just died said, I want to go back and relive one of my days on Earth. And Jim Parsons is like, I wouldn't do it if I were you. And then she's like, no, I want to. I'll just relive my 12th birthday. So she goes, and then it's about not realizing what you have when you have it. So the mom is busy, not really paying attention to her cooking. And as Katie Holmes was cooking bacon, and we're supposed to realize how important everything around you is, the smell of bacon came through the theater. I thought I was having a stroke, but no, I was just having an artistic experience.
Wow, 4D.
It was. I wanted my seats to shake when she died, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But it was a good show. Also a good show. One more thing I want to say. Beyond the Blinds and Everybody's Business But Mine had a live show last night in Brooklyn. I went to see that. It was a lovely holiday time. I won one of the giveaways, but then I felt like I was cheating because I edit Beyond the Blinds. So then I tried to give my raffle ticket to Nor or Tom or Anthony, and I was like, take this, go up and get the prize, But they thought I was being nice and giving away my prize. I still wanted to keep it. I just wanted them to go get it. But they were like, no, you can have it. You can have it.
I would argue it's sketchier to keep the gift, but have a shadow puppet figurehead accept it for you.
Yeah, that's true. But nobody did it anyway, so I had to walk up. And at this point, I had just went to the bathroom, and I wore light jeans. I thought I had some piddle on my crotch.
Oh,
but
God.
Who knows what happened. And I did have, these are jeans I need to get rid of. Both thighs, upper thighs, are are like torn to shreds. You can see my dingleberries as I'm walking. Piss on the front, dingleberries hanging. I had to walk on stage. Kelly's like, this is our editor. The show was wonderful, truly mean it. But the highlight of my night was this little restaurant called Olivier's Bistro that we went to ahead of time. And Chelsea, you know I'm a menu looker before I go to it somewhere. When I looked at this menu and saw, this is what I saw first. Veal, some kind of veal pasta. Oh,
God, we're back on the veal. It is the holiday season. Back on the veal parmesan.
Spoil yourself. But I will give you a twist. Go for the veal, stay for the vegan pasta. I ended up getting vegan gnocchi, but I said, can you add bacon to this? And they did, and it was delightful. Okay. It was so good. So that was my main course, vegan gnocchi with bacon. Then, if you get an entree, you get $1 oysters. So I got 6 of them for myself. Then I also saw in the appetizer section, escargot. And it was... You
love those snails. Slurping those snails is a treat for any occasion, according to Donny.
If I wasn't leaving smelling like the sea, I wasn't doing something right. Call me Ariel.
Nothing like a little ode to low tide.
And that's all I got for you.
Okay. Well, I do think that in the summer, I want you to come back, or maybe we can even stay at my parents' beach house and we can get oysters from the oyster bar that's right around there. Because did you know that I can house some oysters? I am somebody that, like, I can eat 24 oysters, no problem.
Well, that's why I knew we were getting an appetizer to the table, and I knew I was getting a full entree that I planned on eating. So I did giggle when I ordered 6 oysters just for myself. But you know what? I could have ate 12.
Yeah. 6. That's just a little tip of the tongue.
I know.
To wet your whistle. But no, we'll go and we'll bring my youngest daughter because oysters are her favorite food, raw oysters. And to watch this little 5-year-old take her little fork and get it ready, squeeze her little lemon, put a little horseradish on, and then guzzle that oyster, it really is an experience.
Now, do you think if you were on an island that you could survive from oysters? I feel like it's just like having a piece of gum. It could never fulfill me. I could eat 2,000 of them.
I think that long term you couldn't just eat oysters because also if we were stranded on an island, we would have to shuck the oysters ourselves. And it's like that grapefruit diet everybody was doing in the early aughts when they told us that the enzymes in your stomach makes you burn calories, so you can eat as much grapefruit as you want and you'll lose weight. And I think the oyster diet would be similar, or you would just end up shitting yourself.
Good to know.
I think it's because I'm wearing black and I'm so pale.
It is. It's the black and then pale skin and then black sunglass lenses too.
My ring light is bullying me for being so pale in the winter because this does not happen in the summer. It only happens when I look jaundice in the winter months. Well, speaking of my youngest daughter, I do need to tell you, Donny, that the Wicked tour continues because look at me. You didn't even have Wicked on our outline today. I thought we were going to get 1 week off, but alas, the call is coming from inside the house. And we frequently joke that my youngest daughter is your biological child. For example, I did a couple weeks ago receive upwards of 8 text messages from various mommies and daddies of the children in her kindergarten class saying, oh, your daughter was saying that she's planning her birthday party and she wanted little Tommy or little Susie to come. My daughter's birthday is in May. Just one example of the many things that prove that you could be the father, to quote Mari. Now, she has not seen Wicked yet because it is 3 hours. I just don't want to set us all up for failure. But we came home from Wicked when you were in town and we played the song Popular. Like, we just pulled it up on YouTube and put it on. And immediately she was like, who is that? Talking about Glinda. She asks me to Google pictures of Glinda all the time. Then we sat down and watched that NBC or Peacock, like behind the scenes thing that you covered on the Patreon. That's literally just a documentary about the making of the movie. She's watched it 4 times this week, Donny. Like, she is sitting there watching this documentary to the point that I turned to Dr. Bald and I said, maybe I'll just take her out for like a mommy-daughter date, because if she can sit through a documentary 4 times, perhaps she can sit through Wicked for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But she is fully obsessed. She wrote a retraction letter to Santa because she had already asked for a makeup kit caboodle, but she wrote an emergency follow-up letter to Santa saying, forget the makeup. If you've already made it, I'll take it. But I want a realistic Glinda costume. She wants the crown, she wants the wand, she wants the dress, all of it.
Do you think Santa's going to make it in time?
Santa is going to make it maybe not in time. It depends if his elves can ship it on the Amazon van in time, but she will be receiving it. But I did say to her, I was like, well, honey, I'm so happy you like Wicked. I would maybe encourage you to watch the movie first before you decide who your favorite is. And she said, no, Glinda's pretty, Mommy. I want to be her. Genetics are wild. Nature versus nurture. Yeah. She is your child, Donny.
That is so crazy, but I'm glad to hear it. My sister asked me if I wanted a Wicked caboodle today. She said, I got it for a Secret Santa. I have no use for it. Do you want it? Like, do I? Now, it is the green one. Would I have preferred the Glinda one? Yeah, but probably if it was the Glinda one, my sister wouldn't have gave it to me. That is incredible. I could talk about this all day. This could be our headlines. I feel like I've won. Whatever contest that we were having, I've won.
Well, yeah, I've conceded long ago in whatever contest we're having. I just have waved my white flag. You can take gold, whatever.
So now, if you want to see us, if you want to watch Chelsea's skin change live in front of you, go to YouTube. You can watch the videos there. Or don't forget, Patreon exists. You can go there to watch me cry in the Four Christmases episode.
God bless America.
Enjoy
and
it.
Just a quick little plug for Patreon. All of the Patreon uncut and unedited video and audio, it's always up the day that the real episode is released. It's up at 12 a.m. So if you are somebody that you're like refreshing your feed and you're like, come on, Chelsea, why haven't you finished editing? I'm waiting for the main show. The uncut, unedited version is always up like immediately that day. So if you don't like to wait, go to Patreon.
Yeah.
This week brought us drones in New Jersey, Barbra Streisand discovering that Gracie Abrams is a Nepo baby, Mariah Carey signing Rihanna's boobs, a White Lotus Season 3 trailer, and Mason Gooding returning to the Scream franchise.
You know, I have nothing but good things to say about that. Now, if Kiki shows up, I'll just explode.
Pop! Now, I am not allowing myself this week to talk about the drones. I put myself in timeout. I'm not going to talk about them. I don't want to sound like Bethany Frankel ranting on TikTok. So I'm just going to politely bow out of that discussion for now because I do think I'm flying a little too close to the QAnon sun. I have had to be fact-checked by you a couple times recently. And we know that I am susceptible, especially when my brain cells aren't all there. So not talking about that. Now, before I get to my main headline, I do feel it is my duty, as we are one of the only reputable news sources talking about this story. I feel like I need to give an update for the people about the astronauts stuck in space. So it was just announced this week that poor Butch and Suni, there's another delay. There is a delay in sending a new capsule to the ISS. So now Butch and Suni might not be home until March or April.
Something ain't right. Every time I hear these names, well, the names themselves, but every time I hear these names, I just know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what QAnon is going on, but it's not so anonymous anymore. This is in our face. This is just Q.
If anything, even if it's not a conspiracy theory.
No, it is.
Poor Butch and Suni, that they're stuck in space and nobody fucking cares. They've been there for almost a year now.
That's disgusting. I would need therapy. I would have to sign on with Miss Drake from space. Do they have computer access?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope so. Do you think if your nose bleeds when you cry in space, it goes up?
100%, little droplets. Do you know they just like pee into like a vacuum in space?
Like a vacuum hose? Like if you masturbate with it?
They have to like suck in because if they don't, the pee just floats around and all the
Boys
particles.
or girls? Wait.
I don't know the logistics of girls.
It's probably like a go-girl. You know what that is?
Like one of the things that go with the little tube.
Yeah. You probably have to wear a go-girl and then the tube goes in the vacuum. Whereas if you're a man, you just put your ding-a-ling in it. Now, you haven't. You don't have a ding-a-ling. There have been people in this shared space who have put their ding-a-ling in a vacuum and turned it on for suction before. As a teenage boy, Chelsea. Not now.
And have the people in this shared space, did that go well for them?
It didn't go bad. They didn't do it again. It wasn't really anything. It's more fun now. Mothers of teenage boys, if you're listening, if you find a bag of Vaseline in your son's bedroom, he's putting it in between the mattresses and fucking it. Just so you need to know. That's better than a vacuum.
Well, I think for many reasons. Like, I'm worried about the levels of suction. Certainly, there aren't FDA-approved standards. I feel like you'd give your dick a hickey, and not a good kind, but just like...
a dicky.
Oh, God. See, sometimes you say things like that, Donny, and I don't know if it is a common experience, if it's a universal experience that any teenage boy has stuck their dick in a vacuum or in a bag of Vaseline, or if you have normalized it for yourself and you think that your experiences are the greater experience.
Okay, the vacuum might not be a universal experience. You'll have to let me know if there's any boys that listen to this show. But the bag of Vaseline is a common experience because I learned it from Men's Health.
What the fuck is going on with Men's Health?
No, there was a time in my life where I felt uncomfortable looking at internet porn. It was a shared computer. Sure. My little sister was on it. Who knows if it would be there when she goes to do her Barbie websites or whatever. So I didn't really look at porn. So instead, I would go to menshealth.com, look at the pictures of the cover models because they were always shirtless, good-looking men. Mm-hmm. And then between that and the articles with sex tips that were like, stick your dick in a bag of Vaseline, I just jerked off to that. So I was listening to their advice as I read their words. And looked at whoever, Denzel Washington on the cover.
That is a can-do attitude, and I appreciate the rise and grind that you were going to find a way to jerk it. Now, I have put my finger on what's wrong with society.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, did you learn that in Men's Health? Okay.
No, so Men's Health is teaching boys how to pleasure themselves with Vaseline and a Ziploc baggie. Women's magazines catered to teenage girls are teaching teenage girls how to like put ice cubes in their mouth to give a blowjob. They're not teaching us how to flick our bean. They're teaching us how to pleasure men.
Oh my God, you're right.
Maybe if we had some tips and tricks with Vaseline, we would all be a little more satisfied.
Maybe.
So in conclusion, perhaps my judgment of you comes from my own place of jealousy and self-loathing, that I didn't have a vacuum to stick my clit in.
Maybe.
Okay, that wasn't even my headline. Shall we move on?
Let's.
So, on to my headline. Mosh pit diaper designed to avoid queue at gig loos sells out.
What the fuck? I don't know any of those words.
Okay, so actually, I think that you should take notes, Donny. If there's anybody in your life that is still looking for a last-minute Christmas gift for you, maybe get on the waiting list if they re-up this supply. Because according to Sky News, an adult incontinence nappy designed for concert goers to avoid long queues at toilets has gone on sale. So there was a limited edition pit diaper specifically for mosh pits at music gigs, and it was available for $75, and it immediately sold out.
Huh. I would like to think I'm above wearing a diaper, but like I would have loved to not have to pee during Wicked. But besides that first time when I didn't drink for 6 hours, I did pee every single time I saw the movie. I would love to not. So if I did have access to a mosh pit diaper, maybe I would.
I feel like you could wear this to the Eagle because it's black pleather.
Oh.
And it includes metal studs and chains, and it prevents bathroom breaks from spoiling a concert.
Yes, I could wear it to the Eagle. Actually, some people at the Eagle would probably be into it.
And I think that it can catch any bodily fluids. So you could just be cumming your pants, but in a hygienic way.
Oh, that would be cute. Wait, Chelsea, I told you about this offline, I think. And I said I would use tomorrow as my night off and rest and recoup. But now that this has come into my head, I changed my plans. Oh, so God. I thought my friend's holiday party was tomorrow, okay? But it is not. It's tonight. So I'm going to go after work tonight, go to the holiday party, and then be tired all day tomorrow. Fine. But then I requested off work tomorrow to go to the party that doesn't exist tomorrow. So now I have tomorrow night off. And again, I told you, this is the rest I need. I'll use it. I'll watch a holiday film. I'll have some cocoa and have a time of my life.
This is a man, Cuties, who is quite literally working like 80 hours a week right now.
I truly have to schedule bathroom breaks, some of which are in Nalgene bottles.
But if you had this...
Yeah, I wouldn't need to. So now, see, buy it for me. But tomorrow is, and in my head when I learned this information, I just said it's not important because I can't go. But now I can. Tomorrow is the Eagles holiday party, and admission is free with open bar and a buffet as long as you bring a canned goods to donate.
Wow.
I might go. I get to give a blowjob, have 3 hours open bar, and eat potatoes.
Potatoes?
From a buffet.
What a weird call out. Shout out to potatoes at the Eagle.
I don't know what other food I would trust at the Eagle.
Have you not heard of the Troubles? Potatoes haven't worked out for everybody, Donny.
Is that Irish people? Mm-hmm. Oi! That's not Irish.
Go Go on. What?
The one year at the Christmas holiday party, and it went all over Twitter because people thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. There was a picture of this woman at the Eagle serving paella. Just a big bowl and a spoon. They were like, I do not trust the paella at the Eagle.
Well, I don't have any problem as your anti-capitalist consultant. I don't have any problem with you going to the Eagle tomorrow night as long as you're going in with the I need to cut loose and relax attitude. You can recharge by giving a blowjob the same way you can with Hallmark.
With a holiday film, yeah. And maybe I'll ask the people there, like, could you put a Lindsay Lohan film on the big screen, please? It'll really rile me up.
Well, that was my headline. It was sold by Liquid Death, a sparkling water company known for its unusual heavy metal style imaging and marketing. They do also a lot of like tongue-in-cheek things. So perhaps putting out this adult diaper for people to be able to piss themselves at concerts. Perhaps it was done with a wink and a nod, but I do believe there are people that bought this in earnest.
I would probably be one of them. Liquid Death confused me for the longest time. I did not know it was water. I saw a little girl drinking it at a concert once.
Did you look at her parents like, you gonna take care of this?
Yeah. I told my sister the whole time, that little girl's drinking beer. And then it wasn't until the end, we were in the lawn seat, so our hands got a little dirty. It wasn't until the end that the family was pouring it on each other's hands and washing that I was like, oh, that might not be beer.
Dr. Bald, now that he stopped drinking, that's how he got people to stop fucking bothering him about not drinking at parties. Of like, why aren't you drinking? Give me the specifics. It looks enough like alcohol. People are weird with alcohol. They get very offended when you stop drinking because perhaps it makes them think about why they are.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't have a personality. So I'm here to educate this week, Chelsea, about some winter dating trends.
Okay.
First, I want to talk about snowmanning. The term snowmanning was initially coined by the dating gurus at eHarmony in 2019, but doctors are now warning that it could lead to worse outcomes than hard feelings. And all of my quotes are from the New York Post.
Can I try to guess what snowmanning is?
Oh, yeah, please. Well, first, before I tell you that, I do want to give you some context.
Okay.
STI rates are up because of snowmanning.
Oh. I was going to say it's having sex in the snow and then at the end you're penetrated by a carrot.
But that's a very good guess.
Thank you.
Almost close. Once the drinks and presents of Christmas stop flowing and decorations come down, sometimes that initial burst of chemistry wears off. Our research shows that lots of people then retreat from their new relationships, a trend we call snowmanning. So, like, you build it up in the winter, and then it melts away.
It's kind of like the seasonal version of the turkey drop, when all of the kids that go to college their freshman year with their high school boyfriend and girlfriend, they come back for Thanksgiving break, and they drop them, because they're like, sorry, there's bigger fish to fry out there.
Funny you should say that, because that brings me to my next one, sledding. And sledding...
Oh, I think I know this one.
What?
Is that when you're gaining momentum into, like, the Valentine's Day? You're getting ball and chain.
You went too far.
Oh.
Only to New Year. Sledding is when you date someone through the end of the year, only with the plan to sled through to New Year, so you have them for the party, and then you plan on breaking up with them. Snowmanning, the chemistry just wears off. Sledding, you're like, oh no, I'm going to keep this bastard around, so I have a New Year's kiss. And then on January 2nd, you get rid of them. And then the last thing I want to talk about is winter coating, where you reach out to your old flames to keep you warm.
Oh.
Why we need names for any of this, I'm not quite sure. But
I love it.
I just saw snowmanning leads to STI increase. And I was like, this is my headline. I don't know what I'm about to read, but I know I'm going to talk about it.
I love that.
Thank you. Another option was a stripper... A stripper stabbed a DJ 4 times in the back at a vegan strip club.
What constitutes a vegan strip club?
That's what I want to know.
I'm sure that it means the buffet is vegan,
Yeah.
but it does make me feel like it's...
Maybe they do like a burlesque number, but with lettuce leaves.
Maybe.
Like that.
Well, it was a slow news week. I was struggling today as well. You couldn't tell from my incontinent mosh pit headline, but I did text you at some point. I said, I've been looking for an hour and I'm about to talk about a 70-year-old bird who just laid an egg.
Do you have any more details of that? I'd gladly discuss it.
Yeah, so this bird is over 70 years old and she disappeared for a couple years. They thought she had flown south for the winter, if you know what I'm saying. And then she popped back up and popped out an egg and they said, my God, she's still fertile.
Wow.
If I gave birth at 70, just kill me.
I know. Oh my God, no way.
Yeah.
Also, if we were on a press tour with Blake Lively and Diane Keaton right now, and you said, this is the oldest bird to be in existence, I think she would have pointed to Diane Keaton and said, no, I work with one.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are really on their let me repair my reputation tour, because I just saw another headline that I looked at today was how they both grew up, and I quote, very, very working class. It's like, okay. What?
Also, Blake Lively's sister is Teen Witch, for Christ's sake. I refuse to believe that.
Stay tuned for our next TGIF, our award ceremony, for couples I'm keeping an eye on to get divorced.
And listen, maybe I'm rooting for one of those people we just said to be Cutie of the Year. Because you know I love a bitch that'll terrorize people.
Okay. So speaking of cuties, the cutie of the week. I'm going to go first because I've got some things to say, Donny. My cutie of the week is Allie from Vanderpump Rules, just because I'm sure that all of this with James Kennedy being arrested for domestic violence, all of this I'm sure is incredibly difficult for her to navigate, especially with all of the media attention, people leaking the police reports, all the things. So I'm just hoping that she is safe and healthy and taking care of herself. And I just am so sick of us as a society, like baby boying James Kennedy, of like, aw, he's so funny. Kristen Doty and Rachel Leviss have been telling us for years. Kristen literally has a chapter in her book about an ex-boyfriend who was verbally and physically abusive to her. Rachel, on her podcast, Rachel Goes Rogue, which I did for no reason earlier this year, cover and provide recaps for week by week by week. She talked about how like she was really concerned for her dog's safety around James. She never outright said abuse, but like there was enough to say that she did not feel safe around James. And I just feel like this whole situation just shows how quickly we dismiss victims, especially when the women are quote unquote crazy and especially when the men are charming. So I just want to say that I think there are a couple of content creators who have done a really good job breaking it down and speaking about it. One is Cara Berry from Everyone's Business But Mine. And then Who the F Knows with Emily Rose. She just put out a podcast episode that I think is excellently done. There's a lot of resources for victims in the bio. So go over there for that. Yes, Allie has said she's standing by James. I know she says it's a misunderstanding. All I have to say to the people is, for the love of God, stop talking shit about her in the comments. I've seen people dragging her for like the police being called. I've seen people dragging her for staying with him. Just sometimes it's okay to shut the fuck up.
Right.
And that's all I gotta say.
Well, I'm sorry that I don't know a lot of those players, so I can't yes and you. And I'm sorry to take a quick left turn.
No, I went first for a reason, Donny. So bring us home.
My cutie of the week, maybe you've heard of him before. Luigi, just kidding. My cutie of the week, maybe you've heard of him before. I have talked about him, I think the past 2 episodes. DJ Sus One, Mariah Carey's DJ on her Christmas tour, because, Chelsea, I have just discovered that this man is the in-house DJ for the Sherry Shepherd show, filmed in New York City. She just aired like a little segment where she's like, he was with Mariah Carey, now he's back. And all the ladies in the audience cheered. I will be one of them. Cuties, if you want to take a day trip with me in the New York area, come to my DMs and we can plan a little field trip, because this man is so fine and he plays wonderful bops. Sherry Shepherd doesn't tip, but we're not serving her at a restaurant. We're just seeing her show. She came to Bubba Gump once. I know that for a fact. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you that your stalking of this poor man has really paid off and he's back in your city.
I know. And not to like judge a man, you can do whatever you want. I've just told you I stuck my dick in a Vaseline bag, but you can do whatever you want. You don't have to match your looks and personality with what you do with your ding-a-ling. So again, he could be doing anything, but I heard his voice and I do think he's gay.
Great. Well, I hope that you can sled through the holidays with him and put on your winter coat or whatever.
Me too. Not winter coat. I'm not going back to any exes, but we'll sled together.
Okay.
And then he can stick a carrot in my ass or whatever you said. And on that note, this Monday coming up, we're covering 4 Christmases. And then Friday of next week, we will start our end of year recap, which you'll be able to listen to the whole thing on the Patreon the first day it comes out. Or if you want to listen to it in 2 parts, it'll be on the main feed in 2 parts. One next Friday and one the Friday after that. We will talk to you later. Love you like a sister.